Hello, this is Will Faerber from Art to Ride, and today we're looking at a first submission by Paula with her horse Oliver. Oliver is an 18-year-old Oldenburg that Paula has rescued. He was a jumper evidently and a dressage horse, and none of that got very good training and all of that, so which you can certainly see by the shape his back is in when we get to the end of the video. But what a lovely animal this is, and this is a perfect example of what we see all the time now, is these amazingly beautiful animals. You can imagine, what this horse must have been like as a 4-year-old. And then they were just ridden until the wheels fell off. The back is, the back was destroyed. You can see he nearly has kissing spine there when we get to the close-up shots later on in the video. But I just want to say what a great job you're doing with him, and he really looks like he's well worth taking the time. And I believe if you put the time in to get his back right, you're going to have a horse here that you can have for quite some time. And 18 years old should not be an old horse. We should be thinking of that as the middle ages of a horse, if they've been properly cared for. So getting off there in the walk, I would have liked to have seen a little more walk and a little deeper stretch, which you had moments of. Now, I have watched this, of course, and I know that at the end you get the horse to a really good place, so that's really good. She's been shamboning the horse about 3 times a week, and that's exactly what I would have suggested. In fact, I would actually do that every day before you ride. I mean, there's really no reason not to do it every day and just get him really stretching out over his back, before you then get on, so he's only going to be that much easier. Because what's happening here is he's spending an awful lot of time, kind of in his default mode, as you say, where he's just kind of running. His back is quite hollow, and you can see he's kind of pulling along there. But this could be an incredible moving horse. As I said, once again, what a pity that you didn't get him as a 4-year-old, or somebody who had a little better idea of how to train horses. As you could clearly see when the video comes by, he really has a hole there behind the saddle. But what a well put together horse is. This is the kind of horse that kind of suffers for their own. They have such good conformation, and people don't do the right work with them. Doesn't matter how good their conformation eventually they're going to lose their back. As you see this one, there's quite a big hole behind there, and when we see the close-up pictures, you'll see that he's got some real things going on there in his back. But fortunately, if you do this work, you'll be able to save this horse, and you're doing a great job of riding him. Paula tells me she was an ex-pony clubber. That's great. I used to teach the pony club quite a lot here and in Unionville, Pennsylvania, back when I lived there. So, love the pony club. I think it's the way kids should start. I think it's too bad that there aren't more good ones around any longer. But anyway, getting back to this horse, this is really good. I really like this horse. He's just a little flat there. He starts to stretch down. You see the difference it makes when he actually does stretch down. What you need to do as a rider is just, the only thing you're going wrong here is you need to get a little closer contact and keep the loop out of the rein a little more. That's why we ride with our hands wide sometimes we're first teaching these horses this, so that we can keep a steady little contact so that when they give, we have something to give. But you are getting him there by the end of the session, so what you're doing is just fine. And I love how you're just keeping what you're doing, just simple turns and circles. Big circles is exactly what you want to do. Remember, your corner should only be a quarter of the smallest circle that you can perform. So with a horse like this who's not over his back yet, you want to keep those to very big, wide, sweeping turns, and don't try to push them into the corners. I see many, many dressage people doing this and over-driving horses into the corners and then having to yank them around to get through the corner because the horse can't actually bend as small as they're trying to go. But you are not doing that, and that is fantastic. You're really keeping this horse nice and swinging, and as you said, you've brought him a long way from what you got when you rescued him, I'm sure. And I love how you have just the right tack on. I'm sure if you're in the Slaza saddle, that it's fitting the horse in a nice loose ring snaffle just like that. And you're getting moments of just really, really good work where he's starting to stretch down. Look how nice and big this horse's movement is. Now, he doesn't have any upwards thrust yet, because he's not really working over his back yet, except for those few moments when we really get him into a stretch. But you can certainly see that when you do, it's going to be great. And just remember that it doesn't matter whether the horse is 2 years old, 18, or 27. It takes about 2 years for a horse's back to go through the change that happens when they get over their back. They strengthen, the withers actually pull up through the shoulders, and they have a much more uphill appearance. Now, this is the kind of horse that, once again, kind of suffers for his own, how nice a horse he is, because he's so well put together. I'm sure people just, he was easy to put in draw reins when he was young, bring the neck over, and he would have looked fantastic because he's a very uphill built horse. But he will be even more so if you continue with this work and give it the time that it takes for it to work. But once again, everybody knows, that when they talk about young horses, that it's going to take a couple of years to, to get them in the system, so to speak. Here, this looks really good when you get him down through here. That's really nice work. And look what a nice back end this horse has on him. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with this horse whatsoever. I think you're going to end up with something really, really nice here at the end of the day. There, really nice, getting that stretch good. So once again, about the only difference I would make in the plan you've got here so far is that I would go ahead and lunge him in the shambone every day before you get up, and as long as he's calming down about it, it will be good for him, to warm up his back before you get up. My rule of thumb, remember, is always that if I can't get on the horse and immediately stretch it to the ground, that is within a few minutes of getting on it, I can get it to release and just stretch out. Then I want to lunge them in some manner or other before and get them stretching before I get on them, because that tells me they really don't have enough strength in their back to support me. So I need to get it lifting a little bit before I start, and that lunging would do that. And you can see, as you say here in your letter to me, that you can see he's running, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's not really getting any further under his body. He's just kind of running around the arena. So while some horses, when they are very dull horses, we have to kind of even do that just to get them going, and that's kind of what I feel like you're doing here a little bit. But you slow him down again. But once again, we'd like him to be much rounder. So I'd like you to spend more time in the walk. As I said, I would use the shambone and lunge him every day before you get on there, and really get a good stretch in the walk before you go to the trot each day, or try to, and you'll find it'll be, if you put everything in that order, it will work much better and you'll get a better result. Now, you are getting this horse, though, to a good place. You are doing a good job with this horse, and I love how he comes back to the walk, and look how beautiful that horse's neck is. I mean, this horse could really turn into something absolutely wonderful for you. I'd love to see these kind of stories, because we're just seeing way too many horses today. As soon as they can't show, they're just dumped someplace, and that's really a sad thing, because they should be lasting much, much longer. I mean, look at this beautiful creature. I mean, and if you do this work right, given that there's nothing else, as you said, your veterinarians haven't been able to find anything else wrong with him, so that's fantastic. I mean, you should have many more years with this horse, and this work will only rejuvenate him and re-enthuse him. But what a lovely creature he looks, and and that's how so many horses. I mean, they really are lovely animals, lovely creatures. You can see, like this one, he probably just went along. I'm sure he was probably draw reined. He has the neck that kind of looks like that when he was young, and kind of draw reined, but yet the back is still down, and just becomes worse and worse. And then they stop. In the case of the jumpers, they start not wanting to jump, and the dressage horses, they start not wanting to move forward because the people are trying to cram them into frames. But this horse could really be something nice. And look at that lovely swinging walk that he's got, even though he's not even really working through his back yet. And as you get him deeper, that's going to only get better and better and better. So you're doing a really, really nice job with him. Could not be happier. Said I would just reorder my work a little bit and just do the shambone work each day before you get on, until you get to that point where you can get on and he will just stretch right away when you get on. Then you're ready to ride without that. Good stretch in that walk, though. Each time you come back to it, it's getting better. So that's where we want to be able to start. We'd like to get to the point where every day, before we even go into the trot, that we get the walk to that level where he's really stretching down into that contact. And, your thing, you could just be a little quicker at taking up the slack in the reins, but you're doing a really good job with this. You are getting him there. And if you're getting him there once, you'll be able to get him there again and again and again. It will only become easier and easier, because the horse, remember, and what we're doing here is we're showing a horse a comfortable way to go, so the resistance goes away. When you see people fighting with horses, there's only one reason why they fight, because they're trying to force the horse to do something that it can't or does not want to do, or is physically incapable of doing. If you ask horses and keep it within the scope of what they are physically developed to be able to do, most of them are pretty willing to do a lot for us. They have amazingly giving personalities, really. But once again, look how nice this horse's back end is. See, this is the kind of horse that would fool you, because, he still looks like his back end is moving, and that's what's happening in the show ring today all the time. We're seeing these horses that, even though they're not really collected, but they've got so much movement in the hock, it looks like they're doing something, but we really must get everybody looking at the overall picture, that is, whether it's real collection or not. Remembering that collection is the degree to which the horse bends the three joints of the hind legs and maintains that lowering. That's all that it is, nothing more than that. Go back to the last Olympics and watch Charlotte Desjardins on her winning ride, because that horse stays collected throughout. And watch how few do not, or how few do, actually. Nice stretch in the walk there, in the trot, I mean. Very nice there, getting deeper. Yeah, good there. Now that's really nice. Now see how it's also slowed down. Now that you're getting him deeper over his back, he's starting to not run so much. It kind of picks up steam there a little bit. And as you say, if you just canter like that, that's about what I do till you get the trot well. But, when he did canter there, it was not bad. And this is a beautiful trot you're coming back to here. This is where you want him to get to. So if you can get to this place every day, I'm happy. I just like to see you do less work mounted before you get to that point. Look at that beautiful trot right there. That's just going to slow down and get deep and come over his back. You're going to have an incredible horse here when this is all said and done. And once again, I just love to see people taking these horses. And I'm amazed when I see how little is actually wrong with so many of them that people are just getting rid of as soon as they can't, do something for them. And they just need a little time off. In many cases, people are ready to just get rid of them or put them down, and that's totally ridiculous. We're seeing way too many horses going down that road. But really, really nice workout. Everything you're doing is really, really good. Now take a look at this back, and this is what we talk about, folks. When you see that bump there, I mean, that would soon turn into kissing spine. That is that the top of the vertebrae would actually rub together and cause soreness there. That's from just being ridden not through his back his whole life. There's really no top line on this horse. So great job, and I look forward to seeing him in the future. He's really going to be a nice horse and well worth the time you're putting into him. Look forward to seeing you soon. This is Will Faerber from Art to Ride.